If you've yet to watch the hit HBO series The White Lotus, you're seriously missing out. The satirical drama was created by Mike White and follows the guests and employees of the fictional White Lotus resort chain, whose vacations become affected by their various issues. The White Lotus aired in 2021 to critical acclaim, and the first season was set in Hawaii, while the second, current season takes place in Sicily. This season brought a brand new bunch of vacationers, which meant an almost entirely new cast, including Aubrey Plaza, Theo James, Lu Richardson, and more, while season 1's Jennifer Coolidge and Gries were the only actors to come back for round 2. With The White Lotus, secrets are a huge part of the excitement while tuning in, and even if you're a fan who thinks you have the mysteries figured out, I guarantee there is a lot you don't know about the show. So if you want to discover more about this steamy series that has everyone on the edge of their seats, these are some things you didn't know about The White Lotus, here for you on Famous Life. Number 5. To start off, let's answer something viewers were likely wondering ever since the first episode of season 2 aired. Was Theo James's honker all his, or was it a fake? The handsome actor had to bear all in one of the early scenes. However, it was subtle enough that we couldn't catch a good view of what really was going on there. All you could see was that it was, well, big. To answer your question, Theo actually rocked a prosthetic panunska for that scandalous moment. While the actor might be hung himself, Theo recently confirmed on the Tonight Show that he in fact was wearing a fake piece of meat during the nude scene. He said, "The truth of it was, you go into these scenes and you have a conversation with the director and the producers, and they go, okay, for this, we're going to use a prosthetic. We're going to use something," and you say, okay, that sounds good. Theo actually referenced the fake junk multiple times in that interview, which was a shocking 9 inches long and 4 inches wide, and according to him, not sexy feeling at all. Theo added, "I said, honestly, I just want it to not be distracting. He needs to be regular Joe, because the scenes, it's not about the pee-pee, it's about power play and sex. It's about whether he did it deliberately or whether it was an accident and what that means and all that kind of stuff." And makeup designer Rebecca Hickey says, I got you, regular Joe. Well, regular Joe turned out to be more like XXL Joe. Either way, since viewers got just a flash of it seems Rebecca Hickey did the right thing. Number 4. Both seasons were filmed at Four Seasons resorts. True to the premise of the series, while the White Lotus hotel chain is fictional, the show is actually filmed in a real-life hotel, and both seasons have been at Four Seasons resorts. In season 1, which starred the likes of Connie Britton, Alexandra Daddario, Sydney Sweeney, and more, the show was filmed at the Four Seasons Resort Maui at Wailea in Hawaii. Murray Bartlett, who played Armand in season 1, claimed that filming doubled as a vacation. He said, "Every morning there, I woke up, looked out my window at the palm trees, and felt incredibly fortunate." The hotel exteriors, including an infinity pool and gorgeous beachfront, were camera ready at the Maui resort, but the rooms, which were done in a neutral palette, were said to be too bland for filming. Per hotel restrictions, production designer Laura Fox could not paint or otherwise change their pale wallpaper or move the headboards, but she managed to redecorate the rooms to celebrate the natural flora of the island and reflect the personalities of the eccentric characters. The cast and crew was able to use the entirety of the resort due to the hotel being closed for the COVID-19 lockdown, and for season 2 they were able to shoot at a different Four Seasons hotel because it was conveniently closed during the winter season. This time around, this one was shot at the Four Seasons San Domenico Palace in Taormina on the coast of Sicily. This lovely resort overlooking the sea has quite the deep history, as it was originally built as a residence in the 1400s and underwent many changes over the centuries. Now, the Four Seasons San Domenico Palace offers up 111 suites, courtyards, historic gardens, a spa, fine dining, and an outdoor infinity pool, a pool which we've seen on the HBO show quite a lot. Number 3. Cast had some ghostly encounters on the season 2 set at the San Domenico Palace. You might or might not be surprised that the cast of season 2 had some ghostly encounters while filming in Sicily. The upscale hotel was first built during the 14th century, but back then it was a private home for a wealthy local. In 1430, after his death, the massive estate was briefly used as a convent, continued to operate as one for over 400 years, until one of the original owner's ancestors took back possession of the property. During his ownership, he added a large wing to the estate and transformed it into a luxe hotel. The hotel opened its doors to the public in 1896 and quickly became the place to be. High-status individuals in history all came to stay at Sicily's hottest hotel, including playwright Oscar Wilde, King Edward VII, and more. While it was taken over by German troops during World War II, it reopened as a fancy hotel in 1946, and soon it was just as popular as it was in the early days. This time with Hollywood stars of the era like Sophia Loren and Audrey Hepburn coming to stay. Considering the San Domenico Palace's lengthy history, are you surprised that some think the place is haunted? Cast member John Gries noted a paranormal encounter while staying here to film, and this mysterious figure that he claimed he saw was also experienced by co-star Adam DeMarco. He plays Albie. DeMarco explained, "I heard John Gries telling this story of a nightmare he had, and I just couldn't believe it because I had the exact same nightmare 2 nights before. There's this bald man who was walking back and forth and approached the foot of our bed and grabbed. I woke up screaming and I didn't really think anything of it until John mentioned his story. It was just so weird that the story is corroborated so cleanly." Number 2. Something you probably already know about the White Lotus is that it runs off little secrets. The show drops Easter eggs all the time, so let's touch on some that you might have missed. In the current season, clearly nothing but bad vibes have been coming from Quentin, played by Tom Hollander, and, his giant estate. While there, he described Tanya as tragic and then invited her as his date to an opera, wherein the heroine meets a similar end as her father, who killed himself, just as Tanya's did. Between that shocking ending and Quentin's quote-unquote nephew, Jack, played by Leo Woodall, conveniently forgetting his wallet, there's mounting evidence to suggest that both Tanya and Portia are getting played. It appears Cameron, played by Theo James, may have offered an Easter egg on this episode earlier when he suggested that Italians often have glorious palazzos but no cash. That's just an example. Also, how about that wild conversation between Daphne and Harper? In the 5th episode, Megan Fahey's character Daphne suggested to Aubrey Plaza's Harper that she get herself a quote-unquote trainer. Her tip came after news that her husband may have been unfaithful while on their trip, and instead of getting upset or asking for follow-ups, Daphne talks about her trainer Lawrence, who has blonde hair and big blue eyes. She then offers to show Harper a picture of her trainer, but instead displays a photo of her 2 kids, one of whom is very blonde and blue-eyed. Doesn't look like her husband in the slightest. "That's a picture of your kids," Harper says to Daphne, who replies, "Is it? Whoopsie." It seems pretty obvious what that meant, subtly suggesting to Harper that she should also have an affair. There are also some cameos, one of which you probably didn't catch in the opening episode. Dominic, played by Michael Imperioli, is clearly going through marital troubles and calls up his wife. A chat which doesn't go well, and his wife, Abby, starts yelling at him. Viewers thought they recognized Laura Dern, and HBO confirmed that the actress who played Dominic's screaming ex was in fact Laura Dern. It's unclear whether or not Dern's Abby will make an actual appearance at the White Lotus, Sicily, this season, though many fans are hoping she'll show up. And number 1. Finally, the last thing you might not know about the White Lotus was that it was originally supposed to be a mini-series. Yup, we might have only gotten 6 episodes of this hit show had it not been renewed and reworked, mostly due to the ongoing pandemic. As mentioned before, the White Lotus Season 1 was filmed during the coronavirus pandemic and needed to be shot in one controlled location, so the cast stayed in the Four Seasons Resort in Maui, where they could also quarantine. While it was intended as a 6-part limited series, The White Lotus premiered in 2021, and it received critical acclaim and high ratings, with the first season being the most awarded series at the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards, winning 10 awards in the limited series categories. The show's success led to HBO renewing it as an anthology series, with Season 2 premiering in October 2022, and in November 2022, the series was renewed for a 3rd season. Well, until this wild ride concludes for Season 2 of The White Lotus, that's all the secrets we got for you right now about this hit show. Now excuse me while I go dance to the theme song. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Famous Life and leave a comment for who you'd like us to feature next.